Hello and welcome to another edition of Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 13, episode number 04 for Sunday the 27th of August 2023. Hello there everybody and welcome to the show once again. Made it by the skin of my teeth this week, but we are here just a little bit late, but well, it wouldn't be me if I wasn't late, would it? So, yeah. We've got an absolutely packed one for you tonight, and also a slightly shorter show than usual, because I'm doing things a little bit of a different way around this evening. So we will crack straight on with it. We will first of all see who is in the chat. Christopher 2000 is here, Bills is here, Dominic Meakin is here, Wesley Pegden is here. Miguel is here. That's it. Oh, Fat Hobbit's here as well. And there's various other people here that haven't appeared in the chat yet. I can't shout you out. Can't give you a shout out if you've not typed something in the chat, because I kind of know you're there, but I don't know who you are. So just say hello in the chat, and I'll give you a shout out. What's everybody been up to this week? I'm just reading through it. Bill says, is Andy finishing his dinner? No, I've not had my dinner yet, Bill. It's one of the reasons the show's a bit shorter this week. I've got to have it when I've finished. Dominic's been away, of course, on his little trip. Says, wonderful scenery. He went all the way up to Dunnet Head, the most northerly point in Great Britain. Midges were ferocious, though. Yes, they bite. Bill says bedtime stories with Andy. Bedtime stories? Huh. I'm not sure about that. Wesley says, does it mean 6:30 today? No, Wesley, it means 6:30 tomorrow. I'm actually early. Yeah, Dominic's getting to grips with digital voice. They're causing absolute chaos here with roadworks. I don't know what it's like anywhere else in the country, but around here there's like roadworks literally every 600 yards. Most of them are to do with OpenReach, putting in this digital voice that nobody wants, stroke and or needs. But oh dear, it's just an absolute pain. Gambo's here as well. Hi Gambo, he says I'm here for now, but maybe leaving earlier, as picking up a dodgy smart TV. A dodgy smart TV. And I thought he said a doggy smart TV. I thought it wasn't just showed dog programs. Thor would like that. Thor is here, by the way. He's just sort of lurking in the passage. He's had his tea. He's the lucky one. He gets fed before I do. Christopher 2000 says he's been working on his model railway this week. Very good. Michael T is here as well. Hello, Michael. Nice to see you. Right, we will crack on, shall we? Like I say, there's quite a lot to pack in to the old show this week. Right, I've had a visitor this week. I had a visitor came into the radio studio this week. And delivered some telephones for repair. The one and only Fungy Phipps, as you see him occasionally in the chat room here. He popped up here this week, and he's got one or two things for me to repair, including he bought a load of candlestick phones with him. And the first thing he said to me was, "Are these genuine?" To which the answer was a resounding yes to all of them. But one of them is somewhat odd, and I want to show you this odd phone because I've never seen one like it before, and I want to know if any of you guys can shed any light on it. If I can get a camera on it. So here is the phone that's odd. It is a candlestick. I'm just going to remove some bits of paper off it. Right. So here's a candlestick. Okay. Now it's got the little numbers up here. You probably can't see them on the stream, but it has got the little numbers and things, so it's all totally fine in that respect. But what I want to ask you guys about are two things. One, the line cord terminates in the biggest jack plug you've ever seen in your life. I mean, this is bigger than 1/4 inch. It's way bigger than 1/4 inch. It seems to have got 4 sections on it. I have never seen a jack plug that big ever. So can anybody tell me what that's about? Is that plug and socket telephones? Is that InPhone circa 1910? But the really interesting thing about this is we've got this phone that's been turned into a telephone 150. You know, it's had the new this shape of a mouthpiece put on it rather than the one that's shaped a bit like a daffodil trumpet. But what's unusual about this is the thing you hang the receiver on. It's this. Now, I know you can see the shape of that on here, but there is no way you can actually hang a receiver on that. We've tried. Yeah, we've had a go. Nothing hangs on it. And what we're wondering now, what we think this may be, we think the idea is probably that you have it like that, and this bit here is shaped for your finger to go operator, operator. But we think this bit here is to hang on something like a mother-in-law receiver. You know, like you get them a lot on French telephones. But there is a British version. I've shown a British version on here that fits on the 700 series before now. But there was an earlier Bakelite version of it, and should one of those Bakelite mother-in-law receivers fit on this prong here. And because that's the only thing we can think of, because it's such a weird shape. Anybody who knows anything about this, please do get in touch. Either drop us a comment in the chat there if you're live, or drop us a comment below the video if you're watching this back after the fact. But we really, really want to know what is going on with this, because we've actually got no idea. Keith joined us. Hello, Keith, and also Vlad is here as well. Evening all. Keith says, why is it called a mother-in-law receiver, Andy? Right, if you genuinely don't know, Keith, the thought behind it is that they were an extra, on most phones they were an extra receiver but not transmitter. So you see them on French phones quite commonly hung on the back of the phone, and the idea is that a second person can pick it up and listen in on a phone call that somebody else is making. And the thought is that that when a young couple, shall we say, are making a phone call to each other, the mother-in-law to be is listening in on the phone call to make sure there's nothing inappropriate going on, and hence why they're called mother-in-law receivers. Basically, she's spying on them. And it's just a round thing that kind of hangs on the phone. It would like hang on there. And I've shown one on a 700 series. French phones have them on all the time, not so much British ones. But they did do a Bakelite version, and I think they were used on railway phones quite a lot. You know, the wall phones, the wooden wall phones, where you had the wooden box on the wall, something like this attached to the box, and then you had a receiver on the side. Well, rather than the receiver on the side being one of these, it was generally a little round thing on these mother-in-law or watch receivers, as they're sometimes called as well. So we think this should have one of those mother-in-law receivers on it. Gambo says, sorry for going off topic, but I've seen on Fleabay a twit selling a trim phone. Why is he a twit? Because he's converted it into a lamp. Yes, they are twits. They most certainly are. I've told the story on here before about the guy that I ran into at a Christmas fair at Kelham Island Museum in Sheffield. He'd got a stall there. He'd got lots of phones that he turned into lamps. I was there with a display of old phones and various other things as well. And I said, I went up to this guy, and he looked very sullen and unhappy. And it turned out it was because he hadn't sold anything all weekend. I said, all right. I said, well, I'm not surprised really. And he says, why? Why didn't you think I'd sell anything? He says, because I said, basically because you've vandalised all these antiques and turned them into stupid lamps. He said, well, people need lamps. I said, yes, and people go to IKEA and buy lamps. So, yeah, he was even more sulky then after I spoke to him, but there you go. Do I care? No. Keith says, thanks for the explanation about the mother-in-law handset. He says, that makes complete sense, especially knowing my mother-in-law. Christopher says, it might be a radio telephone with a headset. Yes, but if it's a radio telephone with a headset, what's the prong for, Christopher? That's the question. What does this bit? There's a strange noise. Just let me go and investigate this strange noise. Make sure it's not the dog eating something he shouldn't be. What are you doing, Thor? What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey? What are you doing? You alright? Do you want to go outside? I'm just letting the doggy go outside, just a sec. I'll tell you what, I'll have my headset on it. How about that? See, I have found a use for it. Do you want to go out? Do you want to go out? Come on then, don't be long. Come back in. You come back in, good boy. I knew I'd find a use for it. There you go. Oh, he's back in. Can I shut the door then? Now you're back in. Thank you. Stop in here now then. Stop in here now. Right, I'm back. So yeah, if anybody knows what this phone's all about, let us know. It's one that he does want restoring. There's just no way this can possibly fit on there. And to be honest, both bits kind of look original, but they're probably not. What I do like about this is it's still got the original black finish on the brass round here, and you can tell the original black finish because it's shiny. When you're doing the modern chemicals to black and brass, they always tend to come out sort of matte finish, but however they did this, it was shiny. And I believe, I don't know this for certain, but I believe they used to copper plate the brass and then do this blackening. I don't know that for certain, but that's just what I've seen, because I've seen somewhere this has been taken off and they're copper underneath and then they're brass. So I think they may have copper plated them to do the blackening, but again, I don't know for certain. So if anybody knows, get in touch with us and enlighten us. Remember, if you want to get in touch with us after the show, if you don't want to leave a comment or anything, you can get in touch with us by the contact form that's on the website here, andyshed.coldpress.net. You'll find a contact form on there. Right, so that's one phone that's in for restoration, and there are others as well. I will move that one to one side a moment. Damn it, I've got to get all the bits of it because I can't hang the receiver on the hook thing, you see. Of course, the hook's not the right thing to hang it on. Now, another thing that we've got that also came from Fungi Fips rivet. It's a frog. Now, these frog phones, what can I tell you about these frog phones? There's some kind of story involving Kenny Everett on one of these, but I can't quite remember exactly what it is. But these, I've always totally disregarded these. I've seen lots of these over the years. I've always completely disregarded them as being fairly modern, very, very tacky, very, very plasticky, not very well built. Thank you. And and now I've seen one in person, I was right. Because they are. They are very tacky, very modern, and as I said, not terribly well built. Hang on, let me get myself on the right camera and that. Yeah, so here it is. It kind of has a spring in it to hold it open like that, and I'm not quite sure how it it operates a hook switch, but it does somehow, and you can hear it clicking. Now there's a little thing in here, a little button in here, I believe, to turn the thing on and off, turn the ringer on and off, I believe. But the problem is these frogs don't work apparently. So we thought we'd have a look inside one. Let's just try this one and see what happens. What am I plugging it into here? I'm plugging it into 20. Right, does it? Well, I'm getting something out of it. Alright, let's do that on 21. And you do 21. And it says it's engaged. Let's try 22 then. It's not engaged. It's ringing. There must be something up with this phone on 21. Right. Let's try again. Let's ring. No, it doesn't want to work that. I'll just make sure this phone's working. I'll just dial another. Yep, that's working. But yon frog isn't. So, what is wrong with yon frog? One asks oneself. Right, shall we have a look inside it? Shall we dissect the frog? Never thought I'd be saying that on an international live stream. But, right, let me find it. Let me just find a screwdriver. Thor is here guarding the toolbox, aren't you, Thor? Good boy. Good lad. Good boy. Right. Let's see if this little screwdriver will do the job. So I'm going to unplug him a minute. And there's only one screw that's sort of obvious, and it's here. So I don't know where to put this so you can see it, because it's all swamping out a bit, isn't it? This screwdriver is not ideal. Right, that's that then. And there's your frog. Well, his eyes are just two LEDs wired in series by the looks of things. And then it's just absolutely rammed full of electronics. Absolutely rammed with stuff. Alright, I think we might have to put some lights on here. When that camera settles down, that might make it easier to see as well. Right, I am looking what we've got in here. We've got an integrated circuit in there. That always fills me with dread whenever I see one of those. We've got a couple of tiny little screws in this circuit board. It fits in that screw better. So let's whip those out a minute. So now I think this circuit board should lift up, and there's not much of anything underneath it. That's just the back of the keypad there. That black thing in the middle of there that I thought was a switch is not a switch on this particular one, but there is there's a little, that must be the little switch that works the opening and closing. There's a micro switch there, you see. That must work the opening and closing of the frog. But I'm seeing inside it, in here, what I'm not sure what it is, but it looks kind of a bit like a glass fuse. If you look there. Right. Can you see that there's a big giant capacitor in the middle there, and just below it you'll see the integrated circuit, and just below that and above a couple of resistors there is something there. What is that? It's kind of clear on the ends and silver in the middle. Is that a fuse of some kind? I'm looking at all this now and I'm not immediately seeing anything really bad. Right, I'm going to put the circuit board back in. And screw it down again, just so we haven't got so many bits floating about. Gone, you're out of focus, aren't you? There you go. This will be a little microphone down here. This is your speaker up here. Which also acts as your ringer, I think. bit like in a trim phone. This is why I don't do modern. As a general rule. Now the stupid thing about these tacky little plastic frog phones is they fetch an insane amount of money, well over £100 if you've got one that works. So they are actually worth repairing, but you've got to find out how to repair them. So yeah, it's quite complex. Right, who's ringing me? Right, somebody that doesn't realise I'm on air at the minute. Yeah. Right. So here we are. We've got all this. And we're looking for anything that's obviously duff. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's electrolytic capacitors in here. Quite a few of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's immediately 5 that I can see. And they can well be duff. But let's have a close-up look at the circuit board. And I'm getting a close-up look here as you are, because my eyesight isn't good enough to really see that much of this. So I actually see it better under this camera, just like you do. So here it is. In fact, if I hold this down here and move the camera, perhaps that might be a better way of achieving what I'm trying to achieve here. Alright, let's get hold of the camera and point it at this circuit board. The trouble with phones is the cords always get in your way when you're trying to do it. The wire's always in my way. Right, so there you can see this thing there that I'm wondering if that's a fuse. Plenty of resistors and diodes. Nothing that looks particularly like it's toast though at this stage. If you see anything that looks dodgy, shout. Oh, it's a sharp chip. Does anybody want to Google that chip and tell me what it is? LR40992. But what is that? What is that thing? Is it a fuse? Is it something else? I'm now starting to think it's not a fuse. But I'm not seeing anything that's obviously blown up. Are you? But why on earth do you need all this in a phone to make it work, for God's sake? Here's your induction coil. That's your little microphone there. I mean, just visually, these capacitors look good. They're not blown at the top, but that's not always an indication. Sometimes one that looks good can still be dodgy. No, I can't see anything at all iffy in that. Nothing that's visually iffy. Anyway, let's put it that way. Right, let me put my camera back. Yeah. Nothing that's visually dodgy in it. So, we might have to go back to the drawing board on that one. Find out what's up with it. Because, well, there's definitely something up with it. But what is the question? Right, I'm going to ask in the chat. Wesley thinks it's a thermistor or a capacitor, that thing. Michael T said it's a game of elimination, Andy. Even replace the cord. Yeah, I think that that might be a good place to go, Michael. Fatalbit says, as I understand it, the eyes of the frog phone light up. Yes, they should. Yeah, that's right. Dominic says, I saw one that the seller was trying to sell for over £200. Yeah, they do. Dominic also says you could buy a nice ivory 200 or 300 series for that money. That's also true. Miguel says, read my comments. He says it's a capacitor. Right, I'm going back up because I've obviously missed something. It's a Grillo phone, looks like, made in Italy. I think it is related to the Grillo phone, which is a classic Italian design that I've never particularly liked, but they fetch stupid money as well. Vlad says, do you think that candlestick phone might have been adapted for particular settings such as a hotel reception? Might explain the longer braided cord that doesn't attach to the arm. Yeah. Don't know. I really don't know about it, Vlad, that one. It's interesting, that. Right, anybody else come out with anything? Wesley says that chip is a pulse dialer CMOS. Yeah, that would explain a lot, Wesley, because they do dial out in pulse, not tone, these. That's the other thing about them. Why on earth? If you're making something that is just a pulse dialing phone, why put all this electronic nonsense in it? Why not just put a dial on it? Dominic says, I seem to remember someone turned a grillophone into a rotary dial mobile phone. No, that wasn't a grillophone, I don't think, Dominic, they did that with. I think it was a Kickstarter project to actually make a rotary dial mobile phone. I think it was a Kickstarter project, that. Right. Well, we've not had much luck here, have we? But, as someone said, test the cable, and they're only appears to be 2 wires coming out of this cable, a green one and a red one. Here. Yeah, just a green and a red coming out of it, and we can easily see where they go. So yeah, let's do a continuity test on it. Have I got a meter handy? Yes, I have. So yeah, good idea. Let's get the old multimeter out. This is just a cheapo sort of one, about £8 or £9 from various places. You don't need a fancy one. And what we're going to do is do a little test on it. Now I know I've got this set on diode test on here. I know that's the case, but that is how this particular meter, that is what they say to set it on in the instructions to do a continuity test. Right, so we're going to do the cable, aren't we? So let's have a little look. So here's the end of the cable. This is where I need 3 hands. So that should be one side of the line. Don't know which one. Oh, that one, obviously. Yeah, that's the green side then. And that should be the other side. No, that should be the other side. That should be the red side. Oh, meter's not going up on the red one unless I'm just not making contact with it properly. But it must be working. This must be me, because I was hearing a dial tone down it. Right. Well, I'd say that's dodgy. But how on earth was I previously getting a dial tone out of it? Because I was. Hang on. No, I'm testing the cable here. There's the little switchy thing on the side shouldn't make a difference, should it? The little micro switch there. No, it shouldn't make any difference at all, that. Because I'm only testing continuity of the cable. which doesn't seem to have any. Right, well that's weird. Right, let's plug it in again, because that's very strange. Right, I've plugged it in again. Now, right, we're on a hook now, and I don't know if you can see that because it's dim, but the eyes are lit up. It's not showing up on the camera very well, but can you see it on the inside? That the eyes are lighting when the thing is closed. So there must be continuity through that wire. It must not me that wasn't making a connection somewhere along the line. But its eyes are definitely lighting up. So, right. Let's put the thing back together. Right, now can you see the eyes? You can, I mean, it's dim, but can you see those lighting up there? Well, they're supposed to flash when it rings, but do they light up when it's open? So, I've got this, allegedly, plugged into 22. So, no, 20, haven't I? Go away, I'm busy. So, eyes are now not, oh there they are, they're lit now when I open it. So it's not working. It's definitely not working. This. There is something very wrong with it, but there is nothing obviously wrong with it. So whatever it is, it's not obvious. Whatever's going on here. So I think we're going to call this one worthy of further investigation, but generally duff. You see, when you start getting circuit boards in things like that, this just become a nightmare to work on. I hate electrical stuff. I hate electronics. I like mechanical things where you can see what it should do. You know, I like mechanical switches and stuff. I hate electronics. Right. So my problem is Denwell got another one, hasn't he? Alright. So here's frog number 2. Now weekend. Something I never thought I'd be saying on a live stream, but there you go. Right. Frog number 2. Plug it in. Dial tone. And it's ringing. Right, I'm going to take my headset off a minute. Right. Hang up. There's something wrong with this phone on my desk because this phone on my desk is dodgy, this black phone. It must be. Right, let me ring off another phone up here. Oh! I got half a warble out of it and then it died. Nope. Half a warble and it died. So there's something not quite right, isn't there? Trying to ring my mobile from it. No. Saying please hang up now. Ah! Well, it's now ringing my mobile. Let's see if we can do it a second time. Alright, Thor. Yes, Thor. I know. Yes, I know they're rubbish. Yeah. that then. What if I call the other way? Let's try calling the other way. So it does a feeble ring and then it drops the line. That's weird, isn't it? That's very weird. So it does a feeble ring and then drops the line. So I'm suspecting a capacitor in that one, because it kind of works but then it doesn't. So I'm suspecting there's something not doing quite what it should there. Oh well, we've got a bit of oh dear, yeah, all broken inside this one. That where the screw holds the case on there, that is broken, and this one, so somebody's been at this before, this one, right, so somebody's already had a go at this. Again, everything looks as it should be. There's nothing obviously blown up on the board, which is a pain. But yeah, we're getting a feeble ring and then nothing else. Ah! Right. So here, one of his eyes has come unsoldered. So that wasn't held on very well. I wonder if that's got anything to do with it. Right. They're horrible, aren't they? The workmanship on them is so poor. They're like something you buy out the pound shop for 50p. The workmanship on them, the design of them is just abysmal. Doesn't stop the dial tone. His eye's not working. Something strange is occurring there, and I don't know what, but there's definitely something going on there. So, we're not doing very well, are we, today? frogs and things. So yeah. So if you've got any idea about these frogs and stuff, and what you would suggest I do with them, then let me know, because Fungi Phipps wants a working frog, and at the moment he's got 3 and none of them work. And I would suggest that if he's bought 3 and none of them work, they are very, very unreliable. Don't buy one, because the workmanship on them is abysmal. It really is absolutely abysmal. If I bought one of those for 99p off a car boot sale, I'd want me 99p back, I think. They are absolutely abysmal. They are as phones. So yeah, so I will have to off air do some fiddling about with them and see if I can find out what's going on. Maybe take some bits out of one and put them in another, something like that, and figure it out. But the main thing that I want people to figure out today is the candlestick. If anybody can tell me what's going on with that candlestick, I would love to know. Right, I'm just going to catch up on the chat now. Wesley says frog in the bin. Bill says frog in hell. Yes. Bill's also says toad in the hole. Yeah. Gambo says it's croaked it. Oh, very good. But you're all very good with these. Bill says, can you imagine having a serious conversation on those? I think every lawyer should have to have one on his desk. Keith says you could talk to people across the pond on it. Ah, oh, any more? Come on, any more? Bill says, I used to have the plastic frog. When you walked past it croaked in the 90s. My mum had it in the porch when you entered the house. It was irritating, he says. Bill says, Andy, I think the croak is the ring. I think you're right, but it only croaks once, and then it stops and it drops the line. Yeah, Miguel says, candidate for the dustbin. Dominic says, drain the swamp. Miguel says, I've told you about the candlestick. Where? Have I missed it? I probably missed it. Where is it? I don't know where it is. He says, you missed my comments on the operator's candlestick. If I miss them, just type them again until I read them. Just keep typing it till I read it, because, to be honest, I do miss it, because I can hardly see it for a start. My eyesight is absolutely shot. Oh, is this it? It says, this is an operator's telephone. The plug is not rare and would have been used to plug in by the operator. Old auto manual switchboards use that large jack. They are not rare. Right, okie dokie, that's fine. Why would you plug an entire telephone into a switchboard though? Why would you not just plug in? Well, most switchboards have a handset built in, don't they? And some even have a dial on. When they went auto, why would you plug a phone in? I'm not sure. But the question is about that candlestick. What should hang on the hook? What should hang on it? 'Cause it's obviously not an ordinary receiver. So should it be a mother-in-law type receiver? That's the question. Um, Dominic says Thurso, the town, apparently comes from Thor, so it's my dog's namesake. It's your namesake, Thor. You're named after Thurso, or Thurso's named after you. Thor is called Thor because he used to live with a dog called Odin as well. That's why he's called Thor. Dominic says, regarding the Marantz CP430, I could send the non-working one to you, Andy. Could also record an audio version of an Escape the Shed for the radio as an idea. Yes, that's a good idea, isn't it? Yeah. If I can't mend a frog, what do you think my chances are with one of those CP130s? Have you seen? Well, you have seen inside one, haven't you, Dominic? Never seen so much electronics in such a small space. But yes, yeah, I have got. I think it's a CP130 that I've got. I'll have to dig it out. I'll dig it out. I'll try and dig it out for next week and find out exactly what it is. Bill says my comment got deleted. It can't have, Bills. Nobody can delete them. I don't know where it went. If it's disappeared, I don't know where it went. Unless you put a link or something in it, then YouTube eats them. Because YouTube doesn't like people posting links for some reason. Think they're scared we're going to switch to library. Which we may well do. That's another story. Christopher says to hang the headset to hang up the telephone. Seen telephone like that on the Australian Railway. So you think a headset should hang on that thing? So what I did earlier when I hung this headset on that candlestick, you're saying you think that is actually quite close to what should actually happen, Christopher? I can't imagine that being correct because it just doesn't fit very well. Yeah. Oh dear. Not doing very well today, are we? Not doing very well at all. So yeah, we will get on with it. We will sort it out. Actually, what I haven't told you is there's another one of these frogs as well, but I just can't be bothered to get it out of the bag. There's 3 of them in total, none of which work. But I will have a look at them if you're listening, Fungi. I will have a look at them this week. We will try and get something working, but I really do need to get them underneath something to make the circuit board bigger because vision is a problem. Yeah, I'm getting old. I'm getting past it. I'm getting old. My eyesight's going. My hearing's going. Everything's going. Bill says, where did you get the frog phones? They belong to a guy who comes on here, Bills, under the name of Fungi Phipps, who appears on here as Fungi Phipps every now and again. His real name's Darren, and he came to see me this week in the old radio studio that we are currently putting together, and he bought basically a load of telephones with him, and he said, can you fix me any of these, please? So yeah, there's quite a few. There's some other things to fix as well, but I've just brought the ones on here today that I wanted to show people and get other people's opinion on. You know, that I got questions about myself, particularly that candlestick. 'Cause I've never seen one with that. Hook on it before. Now, he did say when he came, he said some wall phones, some of the wooden wall phones have a hook on exactly like that. And they do tend to have one of these watch receivers, mother-in-law receivers or whatever hanging off them. And apparently the railways used them quite a bit. Which has made me remember that I have got a couple of railway phones somewhere. So I'm going to root them out and see what receivers they got on them, because I think they have got something like those mother-in-law receivers on them. So I'm going to root them out and have a look. Bill says, yes, my Ericsson wooden box has a very similar hook for a Bakelite handset. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I'm thinking we're on the right track there, Bills. Right. Right, I think that probably is more or less as far as we can go today. I don't think we can go much further. I think we've exhausted it for today. And Thor's looking at me like he wants to go outside. You want to go outside? Do you? Right. I'll let you out in just a second. Good boy. Just a minute. So, if anybody can shed any more light on the candlestick, thank you, Thor. Yes. Woof. If anybody can shed any more... My mother said there'd be days like this. What? You want to go out? Hang on. Just a minute. So many wires round here. Right, I'll let you out. Go on then. Let you go then. Go on then. Good boy. Here you go. As I was saying, I think we've gone about as far as we can for today. We'll have another go at this next week. If in the meantime anybody knows anything, remember, just either, if you're watching this video after the fact, just drop a comment on it, or get in touch with us via the website, which is here, andyshed.coldpress.net, and you can also, of course, go to the forum, which, if I find it, it's that one there, gpotelephones.proboards.com. And remember, if you like what you've seen here today and you want to support the channel and you're not doing so already, www.patreon.com/andyshed is the way you can do it for basically just £1 a month. And every little helps, as a famous supermarket would say. But from me for now, that really is about it. Thanks to everybody for taking part once again. We'll see you back here. I might even try and be on time next week. What do you think? Actually, I don't think I'm going to manage it because I've got a stationary engine event next week. We are back next week on Sunday. Next Sunday, and not today, but next Sunday. We are back in the daytime at Arkwright's Mill at Cromford with the stationary engines, between roughly about 10 and 3 p.m. So if anybody wants to come along and see us, we are Arkwright's Mill at Cromford next Sunday. Right, that really is about it. I am now going to go and put these frogs back under their lily pad, and I will see you all next week. But for me, have a great week ahead, and yeah, if you see any frogs for sale in the car boot sale, just walk on by. See you next time, everybody. Bye for now.